And I thought I'd polish it off with this, which, as you can see by the top, well, I found it before that date actually, but I wondered if anybody would mention it. It's on Ancestry. And so, you know, the article that I was looking at a bit earlier in the video, so that is the page that so when you track it back to where it came from, so I go end up getting a flipping subscription for the Wichita Eagle just so I can like look, but there is an obituary on that page, but it is not for Brian Kohberger, but there's an article about Brian Kohberger on the page, so it would appear that this is just an AI mistake. But I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? The death age is wrong as well, because he would have been 27 if he died on the 13th. But this did have my mind going, what the fuck? And could this have happened? Is this why they said there's no threat to the community? Because they know he's actually been swatted in Boise, Idaho. And now I think, no, it's probably an AI mistake. But what a mistaker to maker, eh? Can you believe it? Like, it does seem crazy that the mistake is about such a high profile individual. That article that I showed in that video, I don't even know why I ended up on that article, but that wasn't the article where I found so the obituary. If you got to the end, spoiler alert, there's an obituary for Brian Kohberger, and that wasn't the article that it came from. I spoke to these genealogy folk in a group on Reddit, and they said that AI often generates the obituaries, and it must have been a mistake because of that, right? Because I go to the newspaper that it comes from, to the page that it's supposedly on, and there is no obituary for Brian Kohberger, but there's an article about Brian Kohberger, right? Well, about the murders, but right, it says in the obituary that he died in Boise, okay? But I can't find the word Boise on this page, so I thought I was wrong because I don't know what that news article is that I was showing in that video. Oh my God. But that isn't the article. This is the article, right? And when I looked at it before, I couldn't find the word Boise, and it bothered me because I was like, I understand AI could pick up certain words and decide to make it into something, make it into an obituary, because it says obituary underneath. And it does say May 21st, and I think it says that that's when the obituary was. But I can't see the word Boise on here. But I'm horrendous at proofreading, as you can tell. I'm absolutely horrendous at it. So, would anybody be another set of eyes to have a look on here if they can find the word Boise? And what do you think? Do you think with AI, surely it can't just come up with a word and add it in, adding Boise in as the place of death? Surely it has to pick up words that are on the page. Isn't that how it works? Anyway, I'll leave it. Ooh, that guy's just gone strange. Yeah, I'll leave it here. I can't get all the words on that left-hand side, I'm afraid. But it's just so weird when I saw that. So, I mean, most likely that is some sort, as I said, some sort of AI mistake, or somebody, I don't know if they can create that for whatever reason. I don't know if like a human being could have done that. It does seem strange for it to be him in particular, and for there to have been the suggestion that it was in Boise, unless that word is on that page and I can't see it. But nevertheless, I just want to go back to what it said in the original press release, which is here. And the Moscow police does not believe, originally, this is what they did not believe. They did not believe there is an ongoing community risk based on information gathered during the preliminary investigation. Based on information gathered during the preliminary investigation. So I just started looking at no threat to the community, basically, which is basically, in essence, they don't believe there to be a community risk. So they're saying no threat to the community. And we see that a lot with different cases. And thinking about what reason it is that is generally said. So this is in Canada. No threat to community as police in Guelph, on Guelph Street as well, undertake multi-day investigation. So there's a guy, his name's Kenny, and his body was found. They dig up his garden, but his body was actually found somewhere else. Actually, I don't know if it's his garden. They dug up a garden, a backyard, a driveway and backyard on Guelph Street. And then later, and a subsequent article, just the one, 3 people arrested, and they all knew him. Kenny's body was found outside the city by Guelph officers on October the 27th. The 3 people arrested were known to Kenny. So I think when they say it's isolated, right, what they mean is it's isolated to a certain group. They mean it's not random. It's not just somebody. It's somebody within that person's. That person knows that person. The perpetrator and victim know each other. That's what I think they're getting at. Because then there's a 4th person arrested. A 37-year-old Guelph man has been arrested in relation to an investigation into a missing man who was found dead. The 3 people arrested were known to each other and likely were known to Kenny. What about the 4th person? They've just copied and pasted, haven't they? Presumably he was as well. There's another one here. No threat to University of Utah community despite large police presence. Now, did I find out why this one? I think I might have gone on to the next. Oh, subject is in custody. And this is believed to be an isolated incident. So nobody else is believed to be involved. That's what they're saying. It's isolated to these people. And there's someone in custody. So it could mean there's somebody in custody. It could mean that they have reason to believe that they know each other. So with the... Here they say, based on information gathered during the preliminary investigation. So they've got some information from someone. It doesn't say evidence gathered, it says information. So it sounds like it's something they've been told by somebody. So that makes it sound like somebody's believes there's a reason that... But then they'd have to know who the person was to know. I mean, you can't just assume. I know most people just think, oh, they're just, and as Steve G did, think that they're just protecting the university. But I don't think that. I think they actually believed, rightly or wrongly, that this was literally... There was a reason why it was these people, which means they had to know, they had to either, they had a suspect, regardless of whether it was Brian Koberger at that time. It could have been that the suspect was Jack D at that time. He could have been their initial suspect. But it's based on information, not evidence, information. And Steve G does seem to imply that he was giving them information. So he seems like he was leading them in a certain direction. I don't know. So with this one, no threat to the community because it was a homicide-suicide. So everybody's dead, basically. So did they initially think that Ethan was the perpetrator? But they very quickly said that it wasn't a murder-suicide, didn't they? I think they quickly... I don't know how quickly they said that. No ongoing threats to the community with this one. Wallace's... Now, what was the reason for that? Oh, he shot himself. Attempts to kill wife, takes his own life. Well, they say he shot himself. This is Idaho. He might have been swatted for all we know. And then this one. I'll put all these into the comments and description in case you want to look. Bodies of husband and wife found Turlock home. Police say no threat to the community. So again, murder-suicide. Or double suicide. This one, I think this was quite hard to... Oh, no. Yeah, so this is interesting because it says Adam's shooting is an isolated incident, not a random attack. So isolated incident basically means the opposite of random attack. Isolated incident means targeted. Isolated and targeted seem to be... It seems like they're almost suggesting the same thing. Man wanted in connection with Adam's shooting arrested. So they later arrested him, but there's some reason they law enforcement also believes that other co-conspirators may have been involved in this incident. 2 co-conspirators are described as follows: a black male and a black male who, I won't bother describing them because we're not looking at this particular incident other than this was interesting. Femicide census redefining an isolated incident. And actually, I think I just took a screenshot of the bit that... The killing of a woman, especially in a domestic setting, is often reported as an isolated incident with no further threat to the public. Such descriptions dismiss the scale of the issue and diminish the fact that gender-based violence is a society-wide issue. So here, the interviewer has just asked if there were any signs that there was any threat, that, had she given any indication that she was considered herself to be in danger. And Christy says...
And absolutely not. Our son went to that college. No, absolutely not.
My daughter was aware of her environment.
Very aware.
She turned her camera on. She would film when she thought somebody was following her out of a mall parking lot or a grocery store. She was very...
I mean, that in itself suggests to me that possibly somebody was following her and that people weren't taking it seriously. She will record when she thinks somebody's following her, when she's walking out of a... they seem to think that's normal because she's an attractive girl. That's not normal. I've got a sister who looks like a model. She doesn't have people following her around. That's never happened. That's not normal. Just because somebody's attractive doesn't mean that it's normal for people to follow them. And I feel... from things that they've suggested about Kaylee's personality, I'm not sure if they take what she says seriously. Maybe they think that she's exaggerating, and maybe she has exaggerated about things in the past, but maybe this time she wasn't. I don't know, but I did find this interesting here because I feel like they're actually they're saying that there's nothing to worry about, whilst telling the interviewer things that did make Kaylee feel uncomfortable. Have a listen.
Very aware that, she was a pretty girl and that, it could attract some problems. So she was alert. She was a streetwise child.
She herself was a web sleuth, literally, through and through. Listen to, which is just so ironic and just so surreal in all of it. Just very, sad for families when she'd hear about this type of stuff happening. Like, Mom, did you hear about that? Or Mom, did you hear about...
Because they could think that she's being paranoid because she's interested in that sort of thing. And so they might think, oh, well, just because she's, interested in crime, she's got crime on the mind, and not actually have taken her seriously. This is just one theory, and if anybody listens to my channel regularly, they'll know that I've got about 50 more theories. So this is just looking at one possibility.
that,
keep track of it.
and she was very well of her surroundings, very well. I mean, she would think somebody was following her, and she would call me and say, "Mom, I think there's somebody following me." And I'm like, "Well, Kaylee, call the police," and then she'd say, "Oh, never mind. They just turned into 7-Eleven." I mean, she was aware,
And the other possibility is I don't know, she said, or Kaylee, call the police. Actually, that sounds like she's maybe doing the opposite of not taking it seriously, unless she's just saying that she said that because, I don't know, that seems like a really crazy thing to just go, call the police. It's not like, unless it was at night time, but maybe in the daytime, I don't know. I don't think I'd tell somebody to call the police. But what if she had called the police a few times and they hadn't taken it seriously? And what if there was a pattern?
And very aware. And she locks her doors at night, and she locks her car.
But the problem is that lock the doors and lock the car. But the problem is that the sister, on 2 occasions in interviews, says that lots of people knew, as we all know, knew the keypad code. So it doesn't really matter if you lock your door if people know the keypad code.
Kaylee was home, had just been home, so we are so thankful that she had just been home for a week and a half. She just bought a brand new vehicle for herself.
And this is all strange as well, because I can't find it. I haven't found any interviews recent. When I've been listening to them today, I've just listened to loads, and none of them, they're not saying that she's left the home, that she's moved out or anything. They just said she's been home for a week and a half. They didn't say she's actually left. I don't know why she's been home for a week and a half, but Christy's not saying that she's left. What else was I going to say? Hold on, let me just listen to that again. I was going to say something else.
So we are so thankful that she had just been home for a week and a half. She just bought a brand new vehicle for herself.
Oh, yeah, and this vehicle, she's just bought a brand new vehicle for herself. She might have done. She might have, not everybody buys vehicles outright anyway, so she might have got it on credit. But she might not have bought it for herself. She might have said she bought it for herself, and I think some parents think that their kids tell them the truth when their kids tell them something, and if they've never caught the kids in a lie, they're just assuming that they're telling the truth. But the possibility is somebody else bought that for her, or that she got it on credit, because then listen to the rest of it.
Her first vehicle. She had planned a trip. She was planning on backpacking across Europe for the month of January, starting her new job in February with this internship that she had done, wound up offering her a full-time, very well-paid position that she was very excited to take.
Offering her a full-time position doesn't sound like she's started. I think she had started doing something, because the guy Jeremiah Shea set up a GoFundMe for her on the 16th of November, which raised a lot of money, and he made it sound like she was working for him, but maybe she was just training to begin with. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe she was working there. Maybe she had earned a shitload of money. I don't know. But what she says, Christy says next, implies that Kaylee didn't always have that much money.
And she was with us for the last week and a half. She went home Friday to literally go show off her new vehicle. She was like, Maddie has to see my new ride. Like, she has to see this. And she was talking to Maddie the whole time, going back and forth between the car she was buying, and said, I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to see me pull up and wait till you see what I pull up in.
Wow.
And that was Friday. And we spoke to Kaylee on Saturday, and she sent me pictures, a lot of the pictures that are online. And they were both of our girls. And
when was the last time y'all spoke? When was the last time? What was that conversation like? Was it just like you described?
Kaylee called me on Saturday. My birthday was earlier in the week, and I didn't get anything for my birthday. Boo-hoo.
No, so Kaylee didn't buy her mum anything for her birthday. And that seems strange to me because they are such a close family. If I didn't buy something for my mum's birthday, they'd be hell to pay. In fact, this is the first year that I did buy, I bought her just little stuff, and I haven't bought the bigger thing yet, but she'll still keep kind of remind me about it, but she knows I've got not great money situation at the moment. But if this daughter is earning shitloads of money, what's her mum going to think about her not getting her a present? But then,
She was like, it was not a big deal. But Kaylee called me on Saturday and said, Mom, I'll be
I totally think it was a big deal. But anyway.
come on Tuesday, and I'm going to take you out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's all on me, and we'll celebrate your birthday. And I said, well, I don't know if I believe that, meaning she'd pay.
So she's saying that would be an unusual thing for her daughter, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it that it would be unusual that Kaylee would do that, but that is what she's saying. She's saying that would be unusual. So it's not like Kaylee's got loads of money. It would be unusual for her to buy her mum dinner. She hasn't bought her mum's present, but now it sounds like she's money bags. Sounds like she's got come into money. It's like, I feel like there is something that's going on with Kaylee that we don't know about. The splitting up with JD, I think there's more to that than meets the eye. Maybe she met somebody else. I mean, at that age, stuff like that happens, doesn't it? When you're an attractive girl like that, yeah, I can see that she probably wouldn't stay in a long-term relationship. And who does at that age? You don't stay with the person that you met at school usually. It's not surprising for people to split up when they're at university. So I think that she could have met somebody else, or she could have been seeing somebody else during that time. I feel like there's some part of this that we are not privy to, and people are not going to like this, but because we've been trained to view Brian Koberger in a certain way. But let's try and undo what we've been trained. Our brains have been brainwashed into thinking about him, and imagine if there was something going on between them. Well, he would have to keep it quiet because of his job. And then, so he would have kept a relationship with a student quiet. But then imagine if that student then dies, he'd definitely be keeping it quiet. He'd probably want to keep it quiet then. Or he might go and tell somebody and say, oh my God, I was seeing that girl. I don't know. Or the alternative is that he was seeing her and he did do something. Or he wasn't seeing her and he did do something. Or he wasn't seeing her and he didn't do anything. Obviously, there's many possibilities. But I just feel like there is more to this than meets the eye. I saw a comment on a forum from right back at the beginning, and it said that that there had been talk of Kaylee having bought the vehicle from Brian Koberger. But I haven't found anything else. I don't know where that person got that information from. I just saw it in a comment. I think I might have seen it in a couple of comments, but I don't know why they thought that, or where they got it from, because I can't see that information anymore. So, anyway, that's probably about it for now. If there's anybody left, you deserve a round of applause. But I haven't got a free hand, so just imagine Imagine it. I might get a sound effect. But yeah, I'll see you next time.